said, when can you let me know if you're gonna be in the group or out? And I said, you know what? If you need an answer, I'll give it to you right now. I'll tell all of you. I'm out.
Why did Dawn Robinson leave En Vogue? What really happened behind the scenes? People saw En Vogue as a perfect R&B group, but was it really? Dawn Robinson is now telling everything.
And she said, when can you let me know if you're gonna be in the group or out? And I said, you know what? If you need an answer, I'll give it to you right now. I'll tell all of you. I'm out.
She says there were dark secrets, fights, and unfair treatment. Did money problems break the group apart? Was she pushed out? Fans want the truth, and Dawn is ready to speak. What shocking details will she reveal?
Never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it, never gonna get it.
Dawn was born in New London, Connecticut in either 1966 or 1968. Even this part of her story is a mystery. She grew up in a musical family and sang in church as a child. This love for music led her to audition for En Vogue. 4 women, Maxine Jones, Cindy Herron, Terry Ellis, and Dawn Robinson, walked into an audition room, not knowing their lives were about to change forever. This is the story of how En Vogue, one of the most iconic girl groups of the 90s, was born.
And it was just magic. It was, when we got in the studio, we each picked a note that we thought was right for us.
2 music producers, Denzel Foster and Thomas McElroy, had a dream in the 1990s. They wanted to create a girl group that combined the smooth, beautiful sound of the girl groups from the 1950s and 1960s, like the Supremes, with the modern R&B beats that were becoming popular at the time.
Our producers were looking to put together a female group. At first they wanted only 3 members, and they held auditions in Richmond, California, and we all ended up at the audition on the same day.
They didn't just want any group. They had a very clear idea of what they were looking for. In a 1992 interview, McElroy said, "We wanted the girls to be beautiful, but not too beautiful. They had to be smart, but not nerdy. And when they sang, we wanted people to say, wow." They imagined a group that could stand alongside music legends like Gladys Knight, Diana Ross, and The Emotions. They even thought about the girls' looks, their hair, and what they would wear. To find the right singers, Foster and McElroy held auditions around the Bay Area. They wanted to find 3 talented girls who could sing and fit their vision. After auditioning nearly 3,000 girls, they chose 5 finalists. One of those finalists was Maxine Jones. At the time, Maxine worked as a hairdresser in Oakland and had done some background singing for Brenda Vaughn. She wasn't even invited to the audition at first, but made it in. Another finalist, Cindy Herron, was already gaining attention. She had been featured in Jet magazine as Jet Beauty of the Week. Then there was Dawn Robinson, who at just 20 years old had been singing in clubs since she was 12. During the audition, she sang Waiting on You, which later became the final track on En Vogue's debut album.
I can't believe I'm still alone, baby.
Terry Ellis, who was doing studio work in Houston, got a call from a friend about the audition in California. Even though she didn't have enough money, Terry used her rent money to fly to Oakland the very next day. Foster and McElroy tried different combinations of voices to see what worked best. What they found was that the voices of Maxine, Cindy, Terry, and Dawn blended perfectly. This made them rethink their original plan to form a trio. They realized they had something special with these 4 women, so they made the decision to keep all 4.
They said, well, we wanted 3 girls, but we really like the sound of all 4 of you, and we've been watching to see if you can get along, and you guys are really supportive of each other the very first day, and so we want to keep all 4 of you.
The 4 women were thrilled to be part of something new. They were signed to a 7-year production deal with Foster and McElroy's company, 2 Tough Enough Productions, and En Vogue was born. Their voices and style would soon take the music world by storm. They didn't just make music, they changed the sound of the time. Their debut album in 1989 put them on the map. By 1990, their song Hold On hit #1. Their albums Born to Sing and Funky Divas were huge. going platinum and winning awards. Songs like Free Your Mind and What a Man with Salt and Pepper became anthems. But the biggest hit came in 1996 with Don't Let Go, Love from the Set It Off movie soundtrack. This song became a worldwide success, earning platinum status. However, in 1997, something shocking happened. Dawn left En Vogue. Fans were surprised, but the reason was simple: money. Dawn and the other members were not getting paid fairly. Despite their massive success, they were earning only 2 cents per record. That meant each girl in the group was making almost nothing, even though their music was everywhere. Dawn knew this wasn't right. She wanted the group to renegotiate their contract, especially after their first album went triple platinum, but it never happened.
Funky Divas. That's what really took us to the next level. After the success of the Funky Divas CD, the dynamics of the group started changing.
Whenever you go platinum, the first contract you did goes out the window.
Can you imagine working hard, making hit songs, and then finding out you're not getting paid what you deserve? That's exactly what happened to this singer. She was part of a successful group, but when she started questioning the unfair contract, things took a bad turn.
The head of the record company at that time was Sylvia Rohn. She felt like there was going to be problems with Dawn.
Instead of listening to her concerns, the producer got angry. He punished them by cutting them off from writing on their next album. He even took away their royalties, the money they were supposed to earn from their songs. Can you believe that? After all their hard work, they were left feeling used and powerless. She later compared the situation to being treated like a slave. They were trapped in a deal that didn't benefit them. Even though their second album was bigger than the first, they were still getting the same low payment. That's when she started realizing something wasn't right.
We began renegotiating our production deal with Denzel Foster and Thomas McElroy. Our manager and all the group members felt like, it'll be better if you're signed directly to the label.
Despite their success, the group received the same pay for their second album as they did for their first. They got $5,000 up front, another $5,000 once the album was finished, and just 2 cents for every record sold. Dawn remembered being excited when she received her first $5,000 check. "I was rich," she said, but getting the same pay for the second album felt like an insult. On top of that, they were told they couldn't write any songs for the album. This meant they couldn't earn writing royalties, which was a big deal for them. The team was in control and the girls didn't have much say. Dawn explained that they were really busy and didn't have time to write. Tommy and Denny, who were working with them, did most of the work and played the songs for them once they were done. The girls liked what they heard, so they accepted it. Dawn started to realize something troubling. The people around her group En Vogue were making a lot of money. But before any member of the group was paid, Denny, Tommy, and their label were taking a huge portion of the money. The money situation made Dawn feel uncomfortable. She knew they were successful, but it didn't feel right that others were taking so much of their hard-earned cash. Some of the women, though, didn't want to speak out. They were afraid of the consequences. Dawn felt that it wasn't fair for her to be the only one to talk about it, but she also knew that someone needed to say something.
So Sylvia, in her mind, was a divide and conquer. I want to get Dawn and Terry distracted, keep these other two hoes over here broke.
While on tour with MC Hammer, Dawn found out that the women were only making 2 cents per album. That's when MC Hammer stepped in. He arranged a meeting with the group and a business lawyer. The lawyer told them their deal was unfair and that they should be making a lot more money. Dawn wanted to be clear that she wasn't just looking out for herself. She cared about all of them. She went to their accountant and asked, "Where's the money? Something's wrong here." She wasn't just thinking about her own contract. She wanted to know if everyone was in the same situation. Dawn was sure that they all had the same bad deal, so if she spoke up, it was for all of them.
Terry, how can you stay in the studio when you know we had a plan? We didn't call her on that enough.
And I said, look, I have bills to pay.
Well, we all had bills to pay.
Dawn had many late-night talks with Maxine. They would plan to call the other girls, S and Terry, and tell them about the unfair contracts. But when Dawn tried to follow up with Maxine, she was surprised to hear that Maxine had already talked to Denny. "Please don't tell me you did that," Dawn said. But Maxine had already called him. Denny wasn't interested in renegotiating the deal. For him, everything was fine. But for the women of En Vogue, things weren't fine at all. But her struggles didn't end there. In 1997, she left the group hoping for a fresh start. However, speaking out wasn't easy back then. Social media didn't exist, so it was hard to share her side of the story. People told her to stay quiet until she had new hit songs, so she was silenced for years. To make things worse, her former group members spread false rumors, calling her a diva. She strongly denied this, but without a way to defend herself, the rumors spread. Despite all this, she kept pushing forward. In 1999, she joined En Vogue to record a song for the movie Life. Then, in 2000, she formed a new group called Lucy Pearl with Raphael Sadiq and Ali Shaheed Muhammad from a tribe called Quest. Their debut album sold over 1 million copies, and their song Dance Tonight became a hit. Lucy Pearl toured the U.S. and performed internationally. Their second single, Don't Mess With My Man, was also a success, especially in the UK and France. Even after all the struggles, she proved she could still shine.
I lost my house in the process because we were supposed to put our album out in June.
Are you serious?
Here we are in November. I don't have a way of paying my mortgage.
You ever feel like things are just getting good and then, boom, it's all over? That's exactly how Dawn felt when she left Lucy Pearl. She had joined the group hoping for success, but things didn't go as planned. Robinson left because of money problems. She tried to fix things, but nothing worked. In the end, she had to walk away, and Joy replaced her in the group. "We were just getting started, and it was over before we knew it," Robinson said. She talked about how Raphael Sadiq, a key member of the group, didn't support her financially. "I lost my house during that whole thing," she revealed. When she first joined, he told her, "I don't have a lot of money to give you up front, but whatever you need, I got your back." But when the time came, Robinson felt abandoned. She even turned down a record deal with RCA to be in Lucy Pearl.
He told me before I signed with him, "I don't have a lot of money to give you up front, but whatever you need, if you ever need it, I got your back. I can figure it out."
"Raphael, you didn't have my back, dude," she said. Robinson admitted she didn't check the details of her contract. She trusted Sadiq to do the right thing, but she didn't get the money she expected. "By the time we started selling records, I barely got anything," she said.
I came to him and I said, "Look, the album's not out. Here's July. I need help." And he's like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. Every man for himself."
It wasn't just about the money, though. There was also jealousy and tension in the group. Robinson noticed that every time she got attention, some people in the group didn't like it. "When you're the only girl in the group, you get a lot of attention," she explained. But that didn't sit well with others. She tried to keep the group together. She wanted to focus on making money and keeping the peace, but things just got worse. There was one moment that made her realize it was time to leave. She was standing with Ali Shaheed Muhammad and Raphael Sadiq, waiting for an interview. Out of nowhere, someone stepped between her and Sadiq, then Sadiq just walked away. Robinson looked at Ali and said, "We're done." She didn't want people thinking she had a bad attitude or that she was difficult to work with. But in that moment, she knew it was over. On top of everything, Robinson felt that Sadiq never really had her back financially. She had trusted him, but in the end, she felt used. Looking back, she regrets not checking the details of her contract. She also regrets turning down RCA for Lucy Pearl, but most of all, she wishes she had been treated with respect. Robinson spilled all this during an interview with Halftime Chat, and fans were shocked by her honesty. Money problems, jealousy, and feeling ignored. Her time in Lucy Pearl was not what she expected. It's a classic case of history repeating itself. Just like many artists before her, Robinson trusted the wrong people, and it cost her.
Why is everybody so envious? You know that envy never dies.
Dawn had a big decision to make when she was offered a record deal with RCA. Bob Jameson, an executive at RCA, flew her to New York with a solid deal in hand. But then came an opportunity to join Lucy Pearl, a supergroup formed by Raphael Saadiq, Ali Shaheed Muhammad, and herself. Saadiq convinced her to join by promising to support her if she ever needed help. That trust led her to turn down the RCA deal, expecting Saadiq to be her safety net. But when tough times hit, things didn't go as planned. The Lucy Pearl album was supposed to be out by June, but by November, there was still no album. Meanwhile, Dawn was struggling to keep up with her mortgage payments. Her bank kept calling, warning her that she was going to lose her house. Desperate, she reached out to Saadiq, reminding him of his promise. She only needed $1,500 to cover her mortgage. Not a huge amount for someone in the music industry. But instead of help, she got silence. Saadiq, who had once promised to be there for her, didn't come through. It was every man for himself. And just like that, Dawn lost her house. The betrayal was painful. She had passed up a major record deal to join Lucy Pearl, believing in the promises made to her, only to be left struggling alone. Despite this setback, Dawn didn't let it destroy her career. In 2008, she embarked on a solo journey, performing hits from En Vogue and Lucy Pearl. That same year, she reunited with En Vogue at the BET Awards alongside Alicia Keys, SWV, and TLC. The reunion paved the way for the group's 20th anniversary tour in 2009. By 2010, all 4 original En Vogue members appeared on the cover of Jet magazine, signaling a fresh start. Aside from the money issues, in 1993, Luther Vandross, one of the greatest voices in music at the time, invited En Vogue to open for him on his Never Let Me Go tour. This tour was huge, with 77 shows across 6 countries. But things didn't go as planned. En Vogue's members had their first problem when they turned down the chance to appear on the Arsenio Hall show to promote the tour. They felt they had already done too many TV appearances and didn't want to risk being overexposed. This didn't sit well with Luther, and it was their first big disagreement. The next issue came with the stage setup. Luther's stage was in the middle of the arena and rotated around so the audience could see him from every angle. En Vogue was supposed to perform on the stage with Luther, but the space was crowded, and fans started complaining that they couldn't see them clearly. En Vogue wanted to move their band to another spot on the stage to fix this, but Luther didn't like that idea. This caused even more tension. The final straw came with the wardrobe rules. According to the contract, En Vogue wasn't allowed to wear the same colors as Luther or his crew. They were told to avoid colors like black, red, and white, colors that were popular for them and part of their fashion statement. Instead, they had to wear less exciting colors like brown, hot pink, and orange. En Vogue didn't like this restriction and decided to wear the colors they were known for, even though it went against the rules. This disagreement turned into a big argument. At one point, Luther even put up curtains in the backstage area so he wouldn't have to see the girls' faces. En Vogue didn't back down, and they walked right through those curtains, making it clear they weren't going to let anyone control their style or their choices. Soon after, the ladies left the tour early. Their growing tensions with Luther were too much, and they chose to walk away from what could have been a great opportunity.
And she said, when can you let me know if you're going to be in the group or out? And I said, you know what? If you need an answer, I'll give it to you right now. I'll tell all of you. I'm out.
Dawn made a big decision in 2011 to leave the group. This was after she had disagreements about her contract and the direction the group was going. She didn't want to record music for En Vogue's upcoming album, and this led to her parting ways with the group. In a 2012 interview on Access Hollywood, she was honest about why she left. She said there were a lot of different sides to things, and that she and Maxine Jones, another original member of En Vogue, decided to do their own thing. In 2012, Dawn and Maxine took a bold step. They announced they were starting a new girl group called Heirs to the Throne. Fans were excited because it was a fresh new start for both of them. They got attention with their online presence and live performances. Dawn said that she and Maxine built the En Vogue name together and had earned it. But after Cindy Herron and Terry Ellis, the other two members of En Vogue, chose to go their own way, Dawn and Maxine felt it was time to do the same. But it wasn't long before legal battles started to come up. Cindy and Terry filed a lawsuit against Maxine and Dawn over the rights to the En Vogue name. Dawn didn't get involved in the lawsuit but did testify as a witness. This legal mess didn't slow her down for long, though. In 2013, Dawn took a new step in her career by joining the cast of the reality show R&B Divas Los Angeles. It gave fans a glimpse into her life as an artist and what it was like for her as an R&B singer. One of the biggest reasons Dawn left En Vogue was because she wasn't happy with how little money she was making. She said, "No one wants to come home and see that their paycheck is almost nothing." She felt the group was getting paid less than others around them, and that was a big part of why she decided to leave. In 2019, Dawn did something amazing. She reunited with En Vogue to honor a music executive named Sylvia R. This reunion was very special for fans because all 5 members of En Vogue were on stage together for the first time in years. It was a historic moment for the group, and it showed how much of an impact they had on music. This was followed by a tour called Funky Divas, which celebrated Dawn's lasting legacy in the music world. In 2018, Cindy, Terry, and Rona released a new album called Electric Cafe. Fans seemed to like the album and it got good reviews. Then, in 2019, the original members, including Rona, came together for a special concert to support cancer research. It was a touching moment for fans to see the group perform together again and show they still had it.
Hold on, keep the time, and don't let go. Hold on.
Even though En Vogue faced many challenges over the years, their legacy remains strong. They were pioneers in R&B music and inspired many new artists and girl groups. Their songs are still loved by fans, and their impact on pop culture is unforgettable. En Vogue will always be remembered for their incredible talent and the mark they left on music. On a personal note, Dawn was married to Andre Dre Allen from 2003 to 2010. After their separation, she started a relationship with Christopher Niels Connolly, who is known for his career in soccer and work in the UK fashion scene. Dawn even shared on R&B Divas Los Angeles that she hoped to start a family with him. Sadly, by 2017, they had broken up. Today, Dawn Robinson has an estimated net worth of $500,000. Despite everything that has happened in her career and personal life, there's no denying that she is a talented woman with an unforgettable voice. She'll always be remembered for her amazing music, and fans will continue to love the songs that made her a star. What are your favorite songs by Dawn Robinson? Leave a comment below.